talking about how I read my little sister's diary and found her fantasizing about me. Okay, so boom, jumping right in. My little sister and I have a great relationship. I'm her big sister and I protect her from all her bullies and always have her back in any situation. My little sister is 13 and I'm 18, but one thing about my sister is she gonna write in her diary. Literally, she's obsessed with jotting down every single thing that happens in her life. Well, recently, my sister has been acting a bit different. She's just been so distant, and I feel like she's been pushing me away. Me being a worried big sister, I asked her if she's having trouble at school, but she told me she's fine and closed the door on me. So, since she wasn't telling me anything, I waited until she went to volleyball practice and snuck into her room. I took her diary, and I know I shouldn't do it, but I couldn't help it because I really felt like my sister was having trouble at school. But what I found in that diary changed our sister relationship. Changed for the worse. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how I read my little sister's diary and found her fantasizing about me. Okay, so boom, like I said, I snuck into my sister's room, and even though I know I shouldn't, I took her diary and I immediately started reading it. Everything seemed normal at first, talking about her teachers and her friends, but nothing about bullying. And some things here and there about our parents. But when I flipped to the next page, there was a picture of me with the title, My Beautiful Sister. At first, I smiled thinking my sister really loves me. But after I really read through it, I found out my sister really loves me. She wrote about how my skin was so soft and how every time she looks at my lips, she wants to kiss me. She even wrote about how I smell so good and a lot more weird, crazy, too far things. I closed the diary and ran to my room and just freaked out. It all made sense why my sister's been acting so weird. She's been fantasizing about me. Like for part 3. Part 3 on how I read my little sister's diary and found her fantasizing about me. Okay, so boom, like I said, after I found out that my sister was fantasizing about me, I needed a game plan because I felt like that would just be too weird to tell my parents. So what I did was start being mean to my sister, and I kept sneaking into her room to read her diary every day to see if she would stop. And it worked. She stopped after about 4 months. Thank goodness. She started saying things like I can't stand my sister and how I'm spoiled and how I'm full of myself. Oh, but I didn't care. She even started writing about a new boy that she liked in class. And I was even more relieved. Thank goodness. Well, my sister hates me now, but at least she doesn't fantasize about me. Yikes.
So I was at this party last night with some friends, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "You're so beautiful, can I have your number?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, playing hard to get." And I said, "No, I'm simply not interested in you." And he said, "Why can't you just be nice and give me your number?" And I said, "Why did I think of that? I changed my mind all of a sudden. Of course you can have my number. Let me put it in your phone for you." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, but it might take a couple minutes because I'm a little drunk." And he said, "Take your time." Good thing I wasn't drunk because I was able to find his Venmo app right away. So I put my phone number in there, and suddenly I'm $5,000 richer. And I'm wondering, how on earth did that happen? Did I do that? Yes. I know I wasn't entitled to, and he definitely would have said no, but I took it anyway. I guess I just can't seem to take no for an answer.
The time I got in a fight with my best friend's mom. I know that sounds crazy, but let me tell you how it all started. So me and my best friend, we have been friends for 7 years since we were in elementary school together. We did everything together. My parents loved her as if she was their own daughter. But on the other hand, her mom, I don't think has ever liked me. It was almost as if she was jealous of me and her daughter's relationship because my best friend and her mom didn't have a close relationship. Her mom was very young when she had her, so her mom still acted like a teenager. She was truly immature. She would act more like her sister than her mom. Like they would argue back and forth like sisters. Her mom had many boyfriends too that would come in and out the house. It was really a bad environment for her. So she would spend most of the time with me and my family. And I wasn't a bad influence on her either. I helped her with her homework and made sure she kept an A/B average at school. Her mom literally had no reason not to like me. So fast forward. One day, my best friend texted me in the middle of the night, like 4 a.m. The text read, "Help me, help me." Stay tuned for part 2. Okay, part 2. So soon as I seen the text message, I called her right away. She didn't answer the phone, so I called her again and still no answer. So I'm like, why is she not picking up the phone? Is this a joke? So I texted her back asking what's wrong. And I seen she read my text, but she still didn't reply. So I got up and got in my car and drove to her house. At first, I sat outside the car and called her again just to see if she would answer, but she didn't. So I got out of the car and I went to her window and tapped on it just because I didn't want to wake her mom up. She didn't come to the window and I couldn't see in her room because it was so dark. She didn't have the light on or the TV on, and I know my best friend always goes to sleep with the TV on mute because she is still scared of the dark. But that's another story. So I started to become really concerned, so I knocked on the front door. I must have knocked on the door for 5 minutes. Then the door opens, and it was her mom. Stay tuned for part 3. Okay, so here's part 3. She came to the door, very angry, asking me why I was knocking on the door so late. I was like, "Is Myra okay?" She won't answer her phone. Then her mom, I could tell she was drunk. She put her hands on me and told me to get off her porch and go home. I was like, "I'm not leaving until I see that Myra is okay." Then her mom pushed me. She pushed me so hard that I fell on the ground. I was so shocked that she put her hands on me. I literally stayed on the ground for 2 minutes before getting up. Then I said, "I'm going to call the police." Soon as I said that, her mom charged at me and grabbed my phone and threw it on the ground and cracked it. Bro, my phone was so expensive and she cracked my phone. I snapped and punched her in the face and we started fighting. Like, I can't believe I'm fighting someone's mom right now, but I was so angry. And then my friend came out and was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" She grabbed me and pulled me away and said, "It was a prank. It was a prank. I was pranking you." I could not believe her. She was like, "Oh my God, you fought my mom. We could never be friends again."
This is why you should never believe in rumors. One day Liliana heard a story from her friends, but she could have never expected this story would change everything. They said there was a woman buried in the nearby cemetery who was rumored to be a witch, and if anyone went to her grave then she would drag you to hell. But then things took an unexpected turn. Liliana's friend dared her to go to the witch's grave and put a knife in the ground to prove that she was there. When they arrived, all her friends waited by the car while Liliana went into the cemetery alone. She was terrified, but she found the grave, raised a knife and stuck it into the ground, saying, "Take that, you old witch." This is when she realized something was wrong. When she tried to leave, she couldn't. Something was pulling her back and dragging her down. She cried for help, but no one heard. A few hours later, she was found lying by the grave with her face frozen in fear. Without realizing it, she had stuck the knife through her dress, pinning it to the ground, and that's what was dragging her down.